Running scared. Good evening, I hope everyone's well. Thank you for watching. It appears that Reform UK is running scared of Restore Britain. I'm going to get into why I think this in a moment or two, but first things first. Reform UK are going to do very well in the local elections this year. Based on a poll I put on my channel, it shows that most people are going to be voting for Reform UK, and that follows in the Welsh elections for the Senedd and Holyrood elections for the Scottish Parliament as well. Most people on my channel are going to be voting for Reform. That's not really a surprise, this is a right-leaning channel and you would expect that. What it's telling is, when I put up a poll saying, if it was an option, would you be voting Restore Britain this year? Many people say yes, and this is the conundrum that the right has to face. Is Reform the false party and Restore Britain the true party? Got a few years to figure all of this out. As a Reform voter, I probably will have to hold my nose and vote Reform in the local elections this year, because I've actually got a local election this year. The way that my constituency, Halton, that's what my borough is for the local elections runs, is they have elections every year and it's split over a 3-year cycle, which I think is really, really odd. But this is where we're at currently. Alright, most people are voting Reform because Restore Britain isn't ready. That's my opinion. Your mileage may vary. But it's no bad thing to have two centre-right parties at the moment, because one needs to up the ante and then the other follows, and then vice versa, and it keeps on going and going and going. There's going to be an arms race on the right to be who can be the most extreme, and it's going to be joyous because the Overton window will continue to shift. So, yes, Reform UK is running scared of Restore Britain, in my view, and that's no bad thing. I'm going to get into a few bits and pieces now. I'm going to play a video or two, and then I'll give you some thoughts as the videos play.
And the Lowe thing, it's one angry man saying stuff on the internet. Look, let him do what he wants. He doesn't marry me.
It's not really one angry man though, Nigel. And he's not particularly angry. I don't think I'm particularly angry either on my channel. Lowe's not particularly angry. And there's a lot of people behind him. They're setting up branches all over the country. So, if you're not scared, you should be. And that would be the smart position, because they could, and probably will, eat you alive if you do not admit that you are in a competition, an arms race on the right. So that's the first clip. I'll get into the second clip now.
Restore Britain, run by Rupert Lowe, as we like to call him, because he has been slightly conspicuous by his absence from anywhere other than X.
That's because there's a media blackout on Restore Britain. Nobody is platforming Rupert Lowe on any of the channels. The legacy channels don't platform Reform UK, generally speaking, and like to frame them as the far right. And GB News is doing the same thing with Rupert Lowe personally now, and they won't have him on the channel either. And it's just history repeating itself. GB News was meant to be free speech for everybody, and everyone gets a fair shake, but it's not turning out that way.
They're on 4%.
Well, he's not entirely Hooper, is he? Because that's quite good.
I know, and
This is a unprompted poll where he's on 4%, alright? That means that the option for Restore Britain isn't in the list. You've got to click Other or say Other, and then Restore Britain will be an option for you to pick. So 4% that way is not too bad. That's not too bad. Bearing in mind the party's barely 2 months old.
worrying for Farage, isn't it, Tony? Because haven't the Reform lot done a calculation that if Restore gets anything over 3%, then they're a bit screwed?
Yeah, well, I mean, what's funny now is we used to talk about Reform splitting the right-wing vote. Now we're talking about Restore splitting the Reform vote. I mean, everything is just becoming totally fractured, as we'll get onto in our New Divided Britain series. But I think, if you look at the polling numbers, Reform were touching 30%. There were a couple of polls that had them over 30% a few weeks ago. Now they're back down to 24. The general polling average is about 23. and then you've got this kind of cluster about 4 points below, which is any, depending on what poll you look at, it's Labour, the Tories, the Greens, all together.
So the situation is, from what I can understand, and what I'll say here is, the losing support, the ground game Reform UK is losing support. They're having to field a lot of foreign nationals as local council candidates. But then on the other hand, they're saying they're going to have a national inquiry, if you believe what Zia Youssef says, on the Boris wave. But many of them are candidates. And in addition to that, many of their MPs were at least in part responsible for the Boris wave, so they're going to have their own MPs in court, so they're going to have their own MPs explain this. I mean, what's actually going to happen with that? So this is the thing. Reform UK seems to be all over the place, flailing, and I feel sorry for the supporters. As I say, I'm one of them to a degree, because Restore Britain isn't doing a national election yet. They're just doing Great Yarmouth. If I was Reform UK, I would be concerned. I'd be extremely concerned with Restore Britain. I'd be extremely concerned with everything that I'm seeing. All right.
So yeah, I mean, I think Restore is a bit of an issue for Reform, but they are still 4 points ahead of literally everyone else.
Currently, a week is a long time in politics. We'll have to wait to see how this is going to shake out. And then the final clip, this was from GB News earlier last week. So I'm going to play this clip now. This is the presenters panicking when Restore Britain is even mentioned. I think it's by Henry Bolton. I think he's formerly of UKIP.
The answer to this problem is to stop making the United Kingdom attractive. And that, in my books, means detaining securely every single person that comes across. Now, I mean, I'm going to make a political point here because I'm sick and tired of something. Zia Youssef has said that only Reform would do this. Well, actually, Reform is third to the table on this. The SDP and Restore have both said exactly the same thing. And it's time that people like Zia Youssef started, I just want to make this point, started constructively towards this.
We are in an election period, Henry, so we do need to be careful about party political politics in discussions like this. But
first of all, it's local elections and devolved elections. Restore Britain's only fielding in one particular place, Great Yarmouth, and the policy that Bolton is discussing here on GB News, that it says the SDP, Restore Britain and Reform UK all have, that can't be an output, that can't be a consequence of local elections. Local councils wouldn't have any policy platform to implement that, or any powers to implement that going forward. Alright? So Tom's excuse here that we can't even mention Restore Britain because of a pre-election period falls flat on its arse pretty much straight away. This is why he looks like a deer in headlights, because he's scared. Remember, Paul Marshall is a major stakeholder in GB News, and his son, Winston Marshall, has his own podcast on interwebs, and he usually gives very softball interviews to Reform UK candidates and MPs, and we know why. Because he's part of the gatekeeping in the right-wing media that doesn't want anything genuinely authentic and outside of the purview of the accepted narrative or discourse to gain any traction. This is a big mistake. This is a big mistake for GB News, a big mistake for any gatekeepers on the right, because the legacy media is dead and the new media is going to replace it. I believe in an open discourse, a full debate of ideas. If Reform UK genuinely isn't scared of Restore Britain, they should welcome challenges in every way, shape or form, debate the ideas, thrash it out, let the best man win, or best woman win. Alright? That's the only way you can get to the truth of something, if you have all of the information, and then you can make a judgment based on that. Anyway, we'll end this here. Do you agree with me? Do you think that Reform UK is in fact running scared, or do you think I'm overstating things? Do you think Reform UK are going to do well in this year's local elections and the devolved elections in Holyrood and the Senedd? Or do you think that Reform's day is past? Do you think if they do well, is it because Restore Britain isn't a national party yet, they are just doing one area? All opinions are valid. I may be dead wrong on this, I may be dead right. Anyway, like and subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best and thanks again.